I'm Jen West, professional rebel of delight.
And I'm Dave Wiesdock, sage of creative scaffolding.
And this is shadow casting. Hey, Dave, I thought I'd do a little something different with quote day today. Are you game?
Ooh, I don't know. That sounds a little scary.
So instead of just grabbing a quote, I was reading The Journey of Socrates by MIllman, and there was this one statement by one of the masters that I thought I'd pull in.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Let's hear it. I love that book.
Yeah, Journey of Socrates it's a good book, and the story will make you cry. Made me cry sitting in the living room reading it. This is a part in the story where Socrates is being trained by a master, and it's at the beginning of his training. And the statement is, fear is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. Fear generates tension, so breathe and relax. You don't have to rid yourself of fear, just train yourself to respond differently.
Whew, what a powerful quote.
Yeah, I like it so much. I just want to embody that. I would love to get scared and have my body just kind of release into it instead of getting all tight and tense and my heart racing.
It brings to mind this situation that can happen at work. And it happens to me when a lot of people have fear of public speaking is where I'm going with this. And one of the things that happens in business is sometimes you have to run a meeting. You have to be front and center and communicate concepts and be able to keep things going at a certain pace. And depending on who's in the meeting, whether it's your colleague, your coworker, or your boss's boss's boss, there can be certain fear or tension that comes up from that. And what I find is super interesting is that someone brought this up to me, which is why it's coming to mind of I was running a meeting and our CEO, our CTO, our CMO, like all the C-suites in it, right? And I'm running the meeting, not in the C-suite. And so I have to present these data points to our top execs. And when I first had to do it, my palms were sweaty. My face was flushed. I was hesitating. There were a lot of ums. I was speaking from kind of my throat area rather than my chest or my head even. And what I had noticed or what happened is the other day, someone was sitting in the meeting that was new to it. And she said, you just handle that so well when you speak with them. And she was like, aren't you afraid like you're going to say something wrong or dumb even? And she was just coming from this place of fear. And what I found was super interesting is I still kind of feel fear right before the meeting starts. But in this case, experience has taught me to train myself differently so that when I feel that fear, I respond to it with really loud energy of happiness. Like I start the meeting, I'm like, it's on Thursday. So it's happy Thursday, everybody. How's everybody doing? I bring everybody in and it's this big, loud energy. And that quells the fear because I'm sitting in it and feeling it. And then I'm choosing to have a different reaction. So rather than sinking into the fear and getting quiet and all mouse-like, I'm big and expansive and the fear has nowhere to go with that. And so it kind of just goes away. And then the meeting proceeds because 9 out of 10, I'm getting laughs from everybody because it's just kind of comical. It's a little just out there, when you're in a big meeting with the C-suite, they're not expecting somebody to have this almost little joyful smile to them. It needs to be serious. And so by responding differently to my fear, it creates a different environment, both within and without. And the reason I bring this up is that there's often myself included, a defense mechanism where we use humor to hide behind fear. And that's not a conscious choice. And I feel like as shadow casting, if you want to use humor as a response to fear, it needs to come from intention and choice. So that's what comes to me when I hear this quote. What comes up for you, Jen?
When I think about this quote, I think about the age we live in. There was a time when it made sense for when we felt fear, that adrenaline needed to rise and our palms need to get sweaty and we need to get ready to fight or run. And it's just not where we live anymore. we live in a space where our fear comes up and we get all that tension. I felt it just this past week, and I had to give a speech and my hand always shakes. I'm not nervous. It's a habit that happened, an unconscious one, adrenaline coming into the body. And this quote is empowering because it's saying, hey, fear's going to come, but you can teach your body to react in whatever way you want. You can train it to do something else. You can train fear to give you different sensations. And I think that's fabulous. It's just like, oh, I can teach my body that when I get scared, that I get sunk and deep and prepared, and my mind opens up and I get clarity on the situation. I mean, to me, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. So what also comes to mind is I want to reread part of the quote. Fear generates tension, so breathe and relax. That's a really pivotal point to me. Fear generates tension, so breathe and relax. A lot of the work you and I do is getting out of the story and into the body. And fear loves creating stories. When I brought up that example of the friend that joined the meeting, the coworker, she was coming from a story. What will the C-suite think? What happens if? What if? What if? And that's the fear talking in story. And where I failed to, I think, communicate this to her, but also where I would like to underscore it here in this podcast, is that when I feel any emotion, but we'll stick with fear since that's the quote, the goal is to get in my body and feel where it is generating that tension. Is the jaw getting tight? Are the eyes getting sunken? Are the shoulders going up? Is the heart racing? Is the gut tense? And then whatever you're experiencing, breathe and relax into that. Feel the tension in the jaw, feel the shoulders tightening, feel the palms getting sweaty. And as you breathe and relax into that, as the body relaxes, I think that fear loses its hold. And it's not because the story changed or because those concerns that fear brought up are or aren't well founded. It's you're taking control of what you're feeling so that you can act with more clarity and choice from that point of intention rather than from the point of fear itself.
Yeah, it's conscious. And that's, I think, the biggest point of this quote. Are you conscious when fear or sadness or anxiety arise? And what do you consciously choose to do with it? Do you feed the story, so you're feeding that anxiety, that fear? Or do you sit into it, acknowledge it, and not give it anything to feed off of?
Right. Yeah. I'd like to just leave it here for the audience. I think that this quote really speaks for itself, and there's a lot to breathe into this. I would love to hear in the comments, how do you handle fear? Where do you feel fear? And try it this week. And it doesn't have to be fear per se, but when you feel an emotion that's causing you that fight or flight response, like Jen brought up, try a different choice with it. Try breathing and relaxing into it and see what happens for you. Maybe nothing changes, and that's okay too. But it's this constant act of learning to tune into your body that's going to create over time that different choice.
Yeah. You'll become unflappable.
I love that word, unflappable. And, as always, make sure to give us a like on our podcast, subscribe wherever you're listening to, share it out with people who you think might benefit from these type of discussions. And until next time.
See ya.